Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Liam Asher. Welcome back to another Overwatch League video. And yes, I know it's been a minute. It's been a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks, something around that. I don't know. It's been a while. And you may be wondering, where have I been? Well, right here. Actually, there's nothing to make on the Overwatch League right now. It's kind of obviously it's on the downward trend. It's kind of dying, actually dying this time. You know, we always say it dies every year, but this time it's getting there. Making content's kind of dead at this point. You know, with those weeks though that I didn't make any content, things been happening. I decided I wanted to go to college now, so I'm going to go to college. If you didn't see the tweet, here's the tweet, so you can maybe see that sometimes. You know, I'll probably make a video kind of like how ATP and Danconia made videos about the whole Overwatch League situation going on, what would happen after if anything like that happened on the lines. I may make one of those kind of videos. Just all around, making content for Overwatch League now is kind of not like what it used to be. You know, it's kind of getting to the point where like there's nothing really to do at all. It's just kind of off-season videos. And then right after that, when the league starts, you can have a few videos, and then that's just really it. Off-season is really the juice to make stuff happen, and then when it's mid-season, it's kind of nothing to do. It's the same videos every week, you know, prediction videos or just something on the lines of that. So it kind of gets a little bit boring when you do those videos, for me personally. But I did bring up another 10, not top 10. You know, it's just 10 players I want to talk about, not top 10, no rankings. So don't expect any of these players to be ranked at all. Just kind of 10 players, not top 10, just 10 players that could easily come back in the Overwatch League that are retired, of course. I try my best to find as much, you know, information as I could. People who are still interested in Overwatch in a way, still kind of play it, or they've said they're going to make a return at some point. So there's a lot of retired players that are definitely just gone. They're nowhere to be seen. You just can't find them anymore. So the players I'm listing recently may have retired or have said they want to come back, or just something on the lines of that. You'll get the vibe throughout the entire list. So let's start with our first player. Number 10 is going to be Youngjin. He's actually one of the more recent players that has come out recently that's saying, hey, he's looking to come back, coach or player. And I think Youngjin would be a fantastic player to come back in the Overwatch League. You know, he is retired. He did a fantastic year on the Shanghai Dragons with his projectile play, flex play all around, with how that team played with like the triple DPS compositions. Youngjin was a very fun player to watch back in the day. He did retire, but he is looking to make a comeback. I think I would absolutely love to see him come back. It would be a little bit of a struggle at first, you know, because the competition has grown massively since then, but I think it would be fantastic to see someone like Youngjin just come back. Now, this is a player that has retired recently, and who knows completely the reason why he did retire. Could be because he wanted to leave the team and go to a different team later on, but it is Striker. Striker's player that recently retired on the San Francisco Shock, but who knows? He could easily make a comeback, and if he does, he's going to still be just as dominant. You know, he could be taking a couple month break. He could retire just to get out of Shock. You know, some players have done that in the past. It's happened a lot, actually, where players retire just to get out of their team and they come back next season and join a different team. That could be the case for a Striker, or Striker all around wants a long break. I've noticed sometimes retirement just means a long break for them and they'll come back, or just like a couple month break and they'll come back. I feel like Striker's gonna be one of those players that retires for a little bit then comes back at some point, and I still think Striker would still be just as dominant as he was these past years in the upcoming season if the season does happen, you know. Now to a big one. I think a lot of people would agree that could make a fantastic comeback in the Overwatch League is Sleepy. Sleepy still plays the game a lot on stream, and he's still just as good if he tried hard. If he was in the Overwatch League mindset and also just practicing on a team competitively, I think Sleepy could be insanely good. I don't think he'd be top tier, you know, Violet level or anywhere around that. I think he'd just be up there. You know, he would be competing for that title sometimes, but he'd still be in the middle, just a good all-around kind of player. I think that would be Sleepy easily, especially depending on the team he's on. You know, he was on the Shock for a couple of years, ended up going to the Justice. It was kind of an up and down year because how that team was. They ended up finding success at the later end of the season, but Sleepy did end up retiring. He still streams the game almost every day. Sometimes there's some other games like Valorant, whatever, but Sleepy still plays the game a lot. He's still top 500 in GM area all around. I think he can make a great comeback. Then on to another player that still plays the game almost every day on top of this is Surefour, which I think Surefour has kind of said he wants to come back at some point, but we'll see. He's doing a great job streaming. He probably gets more money off of doing that too. So I would absolutely love to see Surefour come back, but I will say throughout every year of the Overwatch League, his play has kind of not stayed up to the level as the rest of the league, because I noticed that the last couple of games he played, you know, his last couple of years on Toronto Defiant, even the Gladiators on some points, you know, Surefour did not really stay up to that level as the league was back in those seasons. But I still would see Surefour come back, you know, depending on the team he would join with the coaches and the players all around. I think Surefour would be great, but I think he's probably going to stay streaming, but he still would have an easily come back in the Overwatch League if you wanted to. Then on the number 6, a player that also recently retired, but who knows what the situation really is DM. I think DM still showed fantastic performances that he showed on the Shanghai Dragons, even when he was benched occasionally and he came in and he still looked top tier. A lot of people wanted him to go on the Dallas Fuel, but they ended up having Pine. DM, I think, was supposed to go to the Fuel, but they found Pine at the time. I think DM will still be great in the Overwatch League. Maybe he'll join the Field next season. If he joins the team next season, I think he will all around be in the next season of the Overwatch League. It all depends. We don't know what's going to happen next season of the Overwatch League, if it's even going to happen or not. No sponsors, none of that. It's crazy. You know, it's all crazy when it comes to that. So DM, I think, would have an easy comeback in the Overwatch League if he wanted to. Now, on number 5, another player who recently retired is Ivy. Who knows what this whole situation was behind the scenes? I think Ivy could easily come back to the Overwatch League, but it is definitely one of those things. I know it's said about every player. It just depends on the team for Ivy. We saw he had a solid up and down year on his Toronto Defiant year. He joined the Philadelphia Fusion. Myself and a lot of other people thought he would actually be benched on that team because how good EQO showed his previous season. And then Ivy came in and looked like one of the better flex DPS players all around that year. He joins the New York Excelsior, and it's just kind of like that Toronto Defiant years. He has some performances, but they're just not that good. It could be the coaching, it could be the players around him. It could be a lot of things. I think Ivy is one of those players that really depends on the team he's on that shows those good performances for him that would have throughout the rest of that season of the league. Now to number 4, which I was very shocked about the research I had of this player, Janu. He still actually plays the game a decent amount. I mean, you're talking about his live streams. I mean, he doesn't really tweet that much, but he still streams the game a decent amount, and he still looks top tier. And even depending on the team he would join, I think Janu would still be one of the better off tanks in the league. So I love to see him come back. I think he would make a very, very easy comeback in the Overwatch League if he wanted to. I would see him come back. I think it all depends on the players he would be around, though. He's kind of stated that it depends on the players he would be around to join that team, but we would end up seeing. Who knows what John is going to do in the future. Then at the number 3, it's the player that unfortunately did not get the shine, is Urster. You know, he had a great season 2. Everyone's going to talk about Urster season 2. Fantastic season 2. MVP candidate. Season 3 comes around. Internal things go on, the language barriers. Shanghai Dragon comes around. I said he wouldn't get playtime because how good Fleta was, and a lot of people said that wasn't going to happen. He would get playtime. He got almost no playtime on this Shanghai Dragons team. So Urser, I would see him come back. I don't think he would, though, because the level of the league's gone up by a lot. We haven't really seen Urser perform like his season 2 days in a minute. So it's really hard to say if he'd stay up to that level, if he would grind at that level. It really depends. I have no idea where this guy really is right now, too. I don't know if he still plays the game a lot or tweets out about it. I try my best to research him, but he was one of the more recent players that retired. That's why he is on this list. Then up to number 2, it is going to be McGravy. McGravy is kind of up and down. You know, he's kind of experimenting with other games right now when it comes to live streams. He still talks about Overwatch. He still watches the Overwatch League. He still kind of plays Overwatch side to side, you know, just a little bit. So it's kind of hard to throw out there what McGravy would do. I think he could also make a comeback. It also, one of those things, depends on the team. I think he could do a fantastic job on the Vancouver Titans. Even with Fry there, I think Fry is great. I think McGravy could end up being an upgrade if McGravy grinds to that level again. If he's just nonstop grinding Overwatch competitively behind the scenes or just ranked all around, I think McGravy could easily go to that level and just be better than Fry. But who knows? I would see McGravy make a comeback, but with how the league is right now, I don't even think he would want to come back. Then on to the last player I'm listing. I think he stated that he wants to come back, but who knows? He's been streaming a lot of Valorant. It is Xe. Xe, I think he stated he wants to come back to the Dallas Fuel next season if that's the case, if he can. It all depends on what has of Xe. You know, he's still trying to heal from his issue he had. I would see him make a comeback. He would easily make a comeback too because he's still grinding games a lot, Valorant and even Overwatch probably behind the scenes that he doesn't stream a lot, but Xe could easily make a fantastic comeback. But yeah, that is 10 players I wrote down. There was a few players I wanted to put on this list, but they do not really play Overwatch at all or even talk about it in the slightest anymore. So, like, for example, I wanted to put IDDQD in here, but he doesn't really stream Overwatch from the last time I've seen. I've done some research. He does not stream Overwatch that much anymore. So, it's all up in the air. It all depends what's going to happen. And like I said earlier, making content for Overwatch League is kind of in a weird spot right now. I think if there will be another Overwatch League season, off-season obviously is going to be completely fun to make. Every off-season is very fun to do, making videos nonstop every day. It's something to it. Making off-season videos is just completely fun, and just knowing what you're saying is actual information to some people who are not aware of what's going on Twitter, just all around, do not have a Twitter all around, seeing the news. Off-season is fun. It's fun to make videos for that. When it comes to mid-season of the Overwatch League, you know, beginning season, like the first 2 tournaments, stages, whatever you want to call it, there's stuff to do there, but when it gets to like the last 2, you can tell things like, okay, we're going on a downward slope. You know, the games are kind of feeling the same now. There's not that much that is crazy to talk about because the games are predictable now. Everything's predictable when it comes like to the second half of the season of the Overwatch League. So it's like all up in the air. Nothing much really surprising to talk about. There is some top 10s I could still do, like top 10 players on a certain team, but it's just, it does get kind of boring doing that over and over again. I like doing something new occasionally all the time, something new, fresh, unique. I can't keep doing that all the time. So this was a little bit newer to me. I know I've seen a lot of people want to talk about retired players that could come back, and I wanted to do that too. So that's this kind of video I did right now. So if you guys want to stay more in tune with Overwatch League news and Overwatch League stuff in general, let's hope it stays. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Also, don't forget to join my Discord down below as well. Don't forget my Twitter and my Twitch. And don't forget to hit that bell. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.